Hello. Hello, my fellow inmates. How is your personal episode of Prison Break going? I am Shree Krishnamoorthy. I am a biophotonic scientist. It's always nice to have your own personal tagline, something like uh, finding justice beyond the law in black tights. Batman? But I'm not Batman. And clearly, surely not a man, and kind of the worst time in history to be a bat, actually. So, for me, it is studying life with light. So, light girl, there you go. Let's live with that today. But to get to being a light girl, I had to do a PhD. And the thing is, the stipends in PhD are really, really low, because if that was not that way, instead of making us into philosophers, we would have become alcoholics. And kind of these times are not the best for our confidence either. You know, the minute the lockdown happened, schools closed for children, colleges closed, non-essential, and the research labs closed. So yay, PhD is non-essential. Anywho, my PhD happened to be a lot in the dark and in isolation. So I was ready for this, as Sean mentioned. Now, the thing is, why was I in the dark? Because I built lasers to study tiny, tiny cells. And the reason for darkness was there are three things that are best made in darkness. One, photographs. Two, lasers. Three, babies. Don't mix them. Yeah. So my PhD in darkness made me kind of like sunlight a lot. And in a bizarre turn of events, I ended up in Ireland chasing sunlight. My immigration officer just asked me, "Hey, who are you?" I'm not supposed to answer that. The Irish don't answer that. I didn't know that. I was trying to tell my life history. Then he goes on to just make a comment saying, "Oh, you're from India. Oh, you're here for the warmth, aren't you?" It's like, yay, warmth and sunshine. But yeah, here I am. And to get to this point, uh, my PhD involved being with engineers and biologists. With engineers, that was one half of it. You see, before social distancing was cool, engineers were doing it, the PhD students especially, because this was a campus full of men, like very, very, very few girls out there. So amongst the male engineers, you would always keep a 6 feet distance because they never took baths. It's body odor, radius. That's how you socially isolate. Original social isolation. It's not like biologists were any better either, you know. See, the biologists are bizarre at another level. Take fly biologists. Their best joke happens to be time flies like an arrow and fruit flies like a banana. Go figure. Here is the thing. A fly biologist's life is about making this ideal fly, baby fly. So for this, formula is simple. You take a boy fly and a girl fly, marriage, and baby flies. That's how it works. With that, all my relatives could have been fly biologists. But it does get a little tricky. You see, the girl flies like a little bit of independence and choice. Now, what that does is that they lose their virtue with some other boy fly. You don't want that. And if they lose their virtue, they get a scarlet letter A. Ooh. Now that's good for the fly biologist, because what it does is the mark that is left kind of helps them distinguish between virtuous girl flies and the non-virtuous girl flies. Well, this is where things got tricky for one of my friends. See, not only could he not distinguish between the virtuous girl flies and the non-virtuous girl fly, he had a more fundamental problem. He couldn't make out the difference between a boy fly and a girl fly. So I had to break it to him. Buddy, virtuosity is not your problem. It's a little deeper than that. If you cannot distinguish between a boy fly and a girl fly, you really have deeper issues in life. So at this point, from both the engineers and the biologist, I learned two important things about myself. One, I am very possessive about my female friends because 6 feet. They're cleaner. They're simply cleaner. Second, biology teaches you the purpose of life. The purpose of life is to make babies. If you have not made babies, you have failed evolution. Trust me, my friends, I have failed evolution. But luckily, flies have another lesson for us. It turns out that there are two of my favorite studies. One, the sex-deprived fruit flies turned to alcohol. Kind of explains Ireland here, you know. The second one is that the alcoholic fruit flies actually engage in same-sex relationships. Going back to the joke, some fruit flies like bananas. Anywho, coming back to today, you see, you've all been sitting in front of mirrors for a while in isolation, and you've made that mistake. You have turned on that light, that little zit, that balding patch, and that alone white hair. That's what light does. It tells you what's wrong with you. And that's what I do. I put light somewhere in your body and figure out what disease you have. That's what biophotonics does. So once I'm out of here, I go back into my dark cave and start this research again. So this is me, LightGirl, signing off. Stay safe and stay sane. Thank you.